Hello, everybody. Very welcome for this evening talk and sharing on the intimate relationship in the now moment. Our guest is Maja Metlicher and co-host Gregor Kelt. So I'm very happy that so many did respond to our call and that we just are holding the space for this topic because I really feel that it's very, very important in the now moment and that a lot is surfacing out. And we had a small talk with Maya but just for the beginning, I would like to introduce Maya and maybe I just give you the microphone so you can tell us just something little about yourself, what you do, and how anything what you feel to share for the introduction.
Thank you. That's what I always do with my guests. So I it's easier. Yeah, but I'm happy to be here and to see some faces that I don't know and some that I know already. And happy to share today. Yeah, I always have a little bit of a problem to describe what I do. First of all, because I think it's beyond words what I do, and also it keeps shifting and moving and transforming. And I find it hard to catch it in definitions. But let's say that I am a transformational mentor, an activator, a codes keeper, and I work primarily with new earth codes, sacred partnership, sacred leadership. Um, yeah, this is primarily what I bring through my presence and through my work. And uh, yeah, it's just my highest calling to do that. And I bring that to Temple, which is my membership space, and just through one-on-one sessions and some other work that I do in the corporate area. We are just starting with that, and I'm also just starting to work in sound healing. So with a friend who is a musician, and yeah, I think that describes it shortly. But like I said, I feel it's beyond words. Yeah, and thank you for inviting
Yeah.
me. This is a topic that yeah, I just love this topic, and I'm excited to see what's coming for all of us um, in this time in the area of partnerships, new paradigm partnerships.
Yes, thank you for coming, Maya. I feel so blessed that you're with us, and yeah, I really like the messages that you're giving out. They are very aligned. Usually, I am like, yes, yes, it's like this, and yes, everybody, maybe you don't know what I do. I am an astrologer, but I also feel that I go, maybe I cannot describe, but I also use the word feel, what I feel is in the collective the same. And then I check it in the astrology now moment, and I say, oh, now I understand. What is it? I can understand the picture through what I feel. So I was really feeling when Maya, you said it's a white light coming down, and I was like, okay, yeah, something is really pulling out even more, maybe childhood programs. I felt a lot on the childhood thematics, and I connected to the thematic of avoidance, of intimacy and craving for love, because mostly what we received in the relationship with our mother, or father, but mother is the first person where we relate in the intimate way. And there we have more or less patterns, which are the heritage of our ancestors. And for me, this was the last week very much coming out, and mostly like how I could not see dishonesty in my life, and I was just opening myself and I didn't see people are not there. I didn't feel that there is no connection, they're not ready, really present or honest, and I was just like open, and that is also my maybe lack of like awareness, or just a pattern where I could not actually connect to the other person for real, even if I was open. So this is just one small drop from my life. But then I checked on Friday the astrology chart, and I saw Mars conjunction with Uranus, which is the in the astrology the higher mind, or the father sky, or the creator. And then as well, because Mars is masculine energy. And then I saw also, wow, but the other part is the sun, which is the masculine energy in uh, in ourselves, or usually we project that on our partner if we are in partnership. And it was like, again, sun conjunction with Saturn, and it's these are two rulers in our archetypic world, that are the fathers, and they were both. So like I felt the masculine energy is in the now moment very influenced by the collective and by these transmissions of white light of the higher mind or higher self. And I was like, wow, this is really huge, because Taurus is our bodies, about the earth, and the connection to the higher mind or transmission is then, wow, it's just like an eruption of something coming through our body, I felt. So maybe just to open from my side how I was feeling these last days. And when you put out the white light, Maya, I said, wow, this really now makes sense. What is going on? And yeah, I feel like this that we have now maybe the chance to see more of the truth, and not what we thought is this the truth. That like this, I don't know, maybe Maya, you can jump in and
Uh,
tell what you feel.
yeah, I mean, first of all, what was coming up for me already um, when you said the title, let's say, of today's conversation, which is what's craving for love, right? Craving for love, but fearing intimacy. And for me, this part of craving for love and what even love is, and how we have been taught that love is what you receive from a partner, and that's where it seems most of the people are strongly seeking love. But for me, love is a state of being. It's not what someone gives you, it's just what you are. So just to think about this, if you are, or if you remember that your natural state is love, what are we looking for in a partnership? Because you can't be looking for love if you remember, when you remember that you are love, and that love is a state of being, is not something that somebody will give you. So this was just something that was sparked as you were sharing now. um, yeah, so maybe also Gregor maybe has something to share on this. I'm curious how you feel about this, because partnership is so often associated with love. Like when you find your partner, you find love. But what if love is a state of being and this is what you are? What, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Uh, for me, it's always been intertwined with relationship with myself and then relationship with someone outside of me. Uh, that I would always need to work on both and have both present. If I was only uh, let's say just my experience when I was only staying in love with myself, then I was not. Then something outside was missing, or when I was in love with somebody from outside, then some of the inside of love was missing. So I see it as a simultaneous work, at least in my experience. Um, but to go to this energy of Mars and Uranus, as Brina said. I think the planetary alignments just bring out something that was supposed to come out a long time ago, but this was a better opportunity for it to come out. Um, I believe that honesty and willingness to be truthful about how you feel, how it is for you, what doesn't work for you, however you are in a relationship, that's very important. That's in actual intimacy, that it's not so much about, let's say, sexual connotation, but being open one heart with another and being truthful with everything you have, even if you're upset about something, even if you don't like something that your partner is doing or a friend is doing, and then you've been upset for all this time about this. That's intimacy when you share it, being straight with it, and then the other can share something that's been bothering him for so such a long time. So you're able to create this intimate opening between each other, and that love that comes out was never because of that other person over there, but it was because of who I was in the relationship, is where the love sprung out of my heart. So the origin of love was independently of like self-love, love with someone else. Love always came out of my heart and my opening, my willingness to be naked in front of somebody else and be truthful.
Yeah, thank you, Gregor. And I felt also the Uranus Mars energy brings liberation. So, like, there is a push on the masculine energy in women or in men, which I felt there were. I talked with Gregor and another man. They said, "Oh, there was eruption." Like I had. I totally like. I was. What is the English word, Gregor? When you just explode. I just exploded. Like it was out of control. I couldn't. It's like this. I feel. And can you relate, Matei, maybe, or Gregor, or any man that maybe felt the last days like you cannot anymore hide your truth or suppress your truth or suppress your vision or something. I don't know.
Mm.
In regard of this, is it's also that this energy is not so gentle. It's not a gentle energy. This, as a woman, I would like something that
Yes,
calms me, but this is like,
confrontation, right? Straight on confrontation.
yeah, it can be really shocking. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, whenever we are in this kind of conversations, this for me, it's the feeling is I can screw everything up. I can make somebody mad. I can make them vicious. I can like make them crazy, or maybe I'll go crazy. by exposing myself so much, like, or admitting something, or my anger or anything, it's like I'm going to ruin everything. But if it's really truthful, as I've seen and I've experienced it today and yesterday, especially in these 2 days, that it brought out intimacy, brought out a new opportunity, a step forward, which would otherwise remain, things would just remain hidden, and I would probably cope with it, or as I've coped with it still now, and it worked on a certain level, but I always had problems with it. So, and every once in a while in a relationship, a problem would come out, and it was all a result of this, so yeah.
For me, it's not last couple of days, but last couple of months. So the truth is coming out, and being completely radical honest, and just telling it like it is, and I cannot hold it anymore. It's like more authenticity, more directness, more preciseness, more. But it's not a last couple of days. It's it's just a process which began long ago, and it's now more and more felt for me.
Yeah, it feels like that it's just getting more and more intense. Yeah, can anybody relate with this? Because I feel it's just more intense. I just feel okay. Now I will come and I will do my work, and then just another something comes. Yeah.
I'm definitely noticing with the men that I am friends with, because I talk with them more. I'm definitely noticing this, the just like a sudden, like cutting with a sword. Like, okay, this is over. I'm gonna be authentic now. I wanna be authentic. I don't wanna hide anymore. I know what I want, and you know what I hear. I don't want drama. I want harmony and honesty and sharing truth, whatever that is. And I'm really happy when I hear that. And I don't know who was saying this, maybe Gregor. About sharing the truth, no matter if it's hard, if it's not pleasant. I remembered my last partnership, which completed in 2016, so it's already some time ago. In the years that followed, and I was growing and expanding, and I looked back, and so when I was in the relationship, I thought I am the one who is so strong and so okay with sharing my truth, with being vulnerable, and I was almost demanding from him to do the same. But then years later I saw that I was actually not being vulnerable. I just went to a point that felt very safe for me, and I was demanding from my partner to go further from that point to where I went. So I wasn't actually very vulnerable, but I demanded of him to be very vulnerable and open. And yeah, so that was a big learning for me, something big that I noticed. What I thought I was doing, I was actually not doing. But I was so sure back then that I am so open and so, naked, and just sitting there in my complete truth. And actually, I was hiding. So looking back, it makes a lot of sense to me that he was not comfortable with opening up, because I wasn't actually open. Yeah.
Thank you, Maya. Yes, yes. And I am now listening to three men. I am in a group relationship of your dreams, because I was really curious how are men seeing the thing, the relationship. And they are just saying, yeah, mostly that when we wanted the women, when we wanted something, and maybe we're pushing, this is already taking their space to men. And vulnerability is really just like talking through your feelings and giving space and time that they demand that they go into leadership, and which are the issues of trust. And if we with Gregor, we talked a lot with uh, especially for women that were not having experience with the father, like good experience with the father, and of safetiness, of trust. And then unconsciously, we are already doing it when we come to the relationship. And this is really can be pushy or just not giving space to man. This is what came out for me when you were talking about this. So yeah, in general, what I can also relate is that, and it's so hard not to do it, just to leave it and say, yeah, okay, this is your truth. Okay, like I accept it unconditionally. It's because because my mind still understands things and wants solutions. like but I like the idea that men are now the bringers of these solutions, and that I want to relax into my space and see how is if I don't lead, because usually I always went into leading. It was just naturally for me. So hard to experience the trust and giving time not to get into frustration, and that everything is going to be okay. Yeah.
So leadership in intimacy would be my leadership in opening up, being honest. Wouldn't that be leadership? Like if I was really authentic, truthful, honest, then I would be giving space for your honesty and truthfulness. Uh, and there's one thing here that my fear, is that always will there be acceptance on the other side? Will my honesty create honesty from the other side? And then this comes out, and also that if I am a question, if I am truly honest and truthful, does that make somebody else also truthful and honest? If I'm really authentic, honest, is that enough? Or there's a lot of questions for me here. I'm always struggling with this one, but my commitment is to remain honest and keep going through the layers of honesty. It's gonna. If I'm honest, I can't screw up.
Which I feel like we need a lot of maturity, or I don't know what exactly. Maybe some of us can share what exactly creates this chalice that where this can be cooked. This essence of for new relationships that, well, like I see it, we really the heritage is unfolding, like it's collapsing. It's We are getting more and more aware, and maybe we talk to a friend and it just shifts, and because the friend is just experiencing so similar, we are not so far apart in this understanding of what is going on. It's just the color of the story is different. Maybe just some small stuff are different, but in the majority, I feel they're quite so similar issues coming out. So
For me, there are many factors, and basically most of them are influenced exactly from our childhoods and how was the relation with mother and father on one side, but there are also different aspects like transgenerational or transincarnational. So basically, to that, many times I don't have really access. What is it there? But I can see that many times, if there are some childhood trauma, let's say, especially with the member of the opposite sex, let's say for women with father and for men with mother, then the top-down perception does not allow really for the other person, for the person to see what is really going on. And as you described, Brina, that it is so hard really to open and to trust despite the things that happened, for example, in your childhood, or despite your disappointment, or because what you learned first is the deepest. And for example, if you learned first that you cannot trust your father or that you cannot trust your mother, that can basically translate to me that I cannot trust women, or it can translate to my partner that men shouldn't be trusted. And now that's not easy to overcome.
Not easy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And in my case, I just received both. So it's just like the issue. I really understand, this states when you become very strong, and you're not aware that you're not intimate, that you're not really vulnerable, because it was something I was living all my life, to be very strong and to be strong for others, and to understand others before I understand myself, and like many things. Uh, but really, in the last months, like you said, Matej, I never before experienced. Okay, with my partner, we break apart, but in a way, it's so strange because we have this connection that even I don't like his truth, and I think maybe it should be different. I experienced that his decision really gave me a lot of space that I never received before in my life. And also, the collective is like this. And of course, I also do therapy now for almost 2 years to recognize what is going on, to be aware. So it's sometimes hard to understand how the shifts happen, but it's so interesting for me when I see it, that it's happening to others as well, no matter what they are doing. So
Yeah. My work is doing balance, creating balance, and resolving conflict between the masculine and the feminine inside the body through touch. And I've seen that this always this lack of love, self-love, and completeness comes from the relationship with the father and mother, and all relates translates into the whole body. Uh, in that relationship between mother and father, and how they were between each other and how they were to you, then creates the structure of the whole body, and how well you feel complete, how well uh, you feel good about yourself. It's all translates into that, because if there's a lack of some kind of a lack of something that was never present in a relationship with a father or mother, then this lack is something you have inside as an emptiness, or a lack or a resentment for something not being there, and then it gets all translated into the conflict with inside the body, the stress, the absence of either the masculine or the feminine essence, being truly yourself, and then also the emptiness you bring into a relationship, and craving for something so much and creating conflict from that. It's uh, so important that to address those so fundamental things that were missing from the relationship with father and mother. And coming down to it, maybe everything that we're craving from our partners may be something that we were craving from our father or our mother. And that's why that maybe we don't have the freedom that we all want, and peace and calmness in a relationship, because we're always dealing with these shortages of something. And you have a verbal conflict of something. You weren't doing this and now you're doing this, and we're trying to resolve it through talking, but so many times in the back, if not every time, I've seen that what it comes down to is a lack of true intimacy, of caring for each other, of giving something to each other, very fundamental, basic, human, which the human relationship with, which is primarily coming, and you get familiar with it through your parents. So one thing also came to me when we were talking, is the title we have of today, and I'm posing here a question. Maybe the intimacy itself is the fear, is the solution, or the cure for the fear of intimacy. Maybe if we, because if every time I went into a tantric work, or through touch, and being present with somebody, really taking your time, being eye to eye, seeing each other and going through all the feelings that come up, and still going through them, through wherever it leads to, that it brings, you create space that you're able to feel what has been missing, feel what we were craving for. And so that's why I'm like, I feel that intimacy is the cure for the fear of intimacy. It's some, at least also it pulls me in a relationship. It always pulls me to invest in in the intimacy, and that's where I can source myself.
Yes, but intimacy is basically a bird that needs to fly with two wings and cannot fly with only one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that is also my finding.
Yeah.
And the question that I would like to ask all of you is where I have problems. In the past, many times I was trying to meet the needs of my partner, and of course I most of the time forgot about myself. And then I realized that the self-compassion is the very important thing, but sometimes this is contradicting. Let's say my needs and my partner's needs. Where do you draw a line? How you do that?
Yeah, I feel you, Matej, very, very deeply, because also me and my partner were very, like, very warm personalities, really loving each other's, and like it was so hard to understand that giving to the other so much, which was not necessary at all, it was not even necessary. So I feel when you say this that it's good to communicate, and to wait, like to hear the partner and give space so he can fulfill his or her own needs first by herself. And mostly what I was missing was to find this unit, like where we are, these circles like this, when
Exactly,
we
yes.
and not to save my partner, no, and to understand and to tell my partner I don't need to be saved, But because of the wounding, there were probably unconscious expectations or programs that we were doing this. So now that I feel that we have space, I feel that space is always the answer. And when we want the most something, or we want to give, or we want to receive, is it's if we are able to stop ourselves, whew, it's really good. Or like in my case, we needed to go apart, so we have now space because otherwise it was just it probably impossible. Yeah, because we felt each other really deeply, and yeah, maybe this is the first thing, that we do not try to save or do something for our partner, and that we really listen what the partner like really needs, and what is ours, that we go there, or we say, and also put the boundaries in a way. Okay, I really want to do this now for myself, and usually I'm like, I don't know how much space and time do I need to fulfill this, and I was always in fear, can I then relate to my partner, like can I be. So to find this balance, and first, yeah, I don't know, to be for there for yourself, and to do the things that you need for yourself, and then say, wow, to partner, I'm now open and happy. Where are you? What is happening to you? Are we going to do something together, or you need something? Well, what is going on? For me, if this what I would receive, because I really need a lot of space, and then a lot of closeness. Like, I'm really extreme. I feel extremes in me. I don't know why, but this is the way I am. And I don't know what the others can say about this. Maya, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, what you said now, Brina, resonates a lot. I I think, I mean, I will maybe just use different words than you used, and I'm talking about the same thing, but trusting in the other person, trusting that they can tell you what they need, or that they know what they need. So, so we don't go, maybe this is more for women, to go into
Mm-hmm.
savior mode, like anyway, I know better than you what's best for you. Like I know,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I really saw with myself, like I was saying before, in the years that followed my last partnership, when I was working on myself and just gaining more self awareness of my patterns, of my fears, and how my fears were reflected in me trying to save my partner, but actually, I wasn't saving myself. I wasn't brave enough to honestly look at myself. So I was projecting on him these things, and yeah, and this just comes now. So I later, through my realizations, I shared with him, with my ex-partner, and he was very moved and very grateful to hear this from me, even if it was later, because I apologized. I apologized for the times when I was trying to do something for him, but actually I was doing it for myself, and telling him that I'm doing this for him, for in his best interest. And he was resisting back then, and at one point he just gave up, like, okay, you just do what you need to do just so it's calm. Yeah. uh, so I don't know if I stayed on topic, but this is what came for me now.
Yeah, you did. And there's one thing that I experienced, like, because of the patterns, like how to bring yourself into the field, that we are, you, I don't know how it's with the others, but it's like, when you come into the relationship, we were talking how much of yourself and to partner, and it's so hard if you come into the field in the partnership and you are not there actually completely. How this presence of yours, which we are also not aware that we are not, like we are doing so much, but we are not present in the relationship. This is so hard to understand sometimes. Um, yeah, how to bring our yourself into the field, and it was not easy. Um, I'm doing this program through New Dawn, the ethics with Tadeja. That she's the bringer of non-duality for Slovenian space, and it was really interesting to understand from this perspective, because I was just starting to receive so much space which I could not explain, but I felt it usually a lot of tiredness through my body. And I just felt, wow, in my universe, honesty or dishonesty was not existing. So this part of me could not exist at all as me, and there were other stuff as well, or they were not placed into the right position. So mostly I felt this is my way of getting into my body and to really feel and experience myself more fully. And then, of course, it influenced the relationship as well. So, so, and I'm still like, I don't know. I don't know what is for me in the relationship coming, but I have so much hopes. And also on the other side, when I have so much hopes, the other polarity, you said we are love. This is the state of being, and I allowed myself also to be the opposition of it, so I could be like both. I don't know how to explain, but it gave me more space just to allow that I am not just only love, but I can be also the hate or whatever. And in this way, then I felt I can love more honestly because the other parts can be in their own place, to admit to myself, okay, I feel also this and this, but not to put it on the other person, just the relation toward myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I hear from you is freedom of choice.
Okay. Maybe, yeah, we use different words, but
Yes, because before, when you thought you have to be loved, but then you realized that you have a choice, and then of course then you chose freely, I want to be that. But when you started, it was always I must be loved. So basically you did not have so much choice before, but then when you had more space, then you could decide, okay, I want to be loved, and that is a freedom for me.
yeah, of course, I want, like, I feel this so connected to this new age, maybe understanding that love, we will be good toward each other when we are in the partnership. And then there is no space to also be cruel when we need to be, and it won't do harm. It will bring good to ourselves and to the person. But then I also recognize when we did something, um, so that we maybe our relationship cannot work anymore because it broke, because we overdo something which we thought it's love. Then the oppositions come too, and because right now I am just facing a lot of cruelty, and I said, okay, I understand, because you didn't allow this to yourself. I understand. but it's so not pleasant for me now. It would be so much easier if. So this is what I'm thinking about unification. I don't know, Maya. Maybe you will also tell this in another way with another words. But I really feel unification is to be with all parts of ourselves,
Mhm.
and which is also in the regard of intimacy. I can be very honest, I'm terrified of intimacy. Like, because I'm really terrified when I will show my fear or real vulnerability, and it's only about expressing it. Maybe in a moment when I express it, it can be released already, and it's liberating.
Mhm.
But just to be really authentic, not to unconsciously mask myself when the partner is there and says, "Yeah, you're safe," you know. So why can I cannot express it? Why do I go into my, into my unconscious behavior? Like,
Mhm. Mhm. And then
like
it's like
I
a check of,
know, but
mhm. It's like a check of
yeah,
yourself
yeah.
that if you're able to be vulnerable and express whatever is in you, however you are, then you are in intimacy. And if you're not having the space for that within yourselves to do it, then you're not in intimacy.
Mhm.
Gregor, how do you draw
And
a line between self-compassion and compassion towards others?
I I regulate it always within my body to always include myself, what I feel inside of myself. So I'm always present with that. Uh, so I'm not just with somebody else that's out there, but I'm always also always with myself. That's what brings me compassion, uh, and can bring gratitude and can bring understanding. Yeah, and so if I'm really present with my feelings and what's happening with inside of me, I do not put whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm experiencing onto my partner. So my experience stays my experience. Uh, and that's how I don't create a conflict, and I don't go into someone else's space, and I keep my presence for the both elements, myself and my partner. uh, but I can like really acknowledge the part that no matter how many times I've came to that conclusion and also experienced this uh, great relationship, or approach to the relationship, I also did many mistakes, and they still happen. When I lose myself in my body because of some certain need I have, or I'm not aware of it, and then to satisfy that need, I uh, release the presence inside myself, and I just go with what's happening to satisfy that need. That's what I can share from this moment now.
My belief is that somehow the cure should be within communication, and of course expressing my own feelings and not blaming the other one for that they're responsible, but taking responsibility for my own feelings, and then expressing the needs, and then ask for uh, requests. uh, uh, that should work probably, but that works only if both persons are able to communicate,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because otherwise it does not work, because if I'm not able to listen because of my patterns, so I see through the filters and I don't hear what she's saying, or if she doesn't hear what I'm saying because she also filters it, then it is a problem. So somehow I think if both are approximately on the same level on this understanding, then this should all work. But if they're not, I don't really understand how to overcome these problems.
It's one of my big let's say wishes. It's like something I would say into space. If we could just all forgive each other, and stop blaming each other for something, to be able to be present in this experience and to go through whatever we're going through now, just to go through it, because so many things come out, and they're even more obvious when you begin to make love. You can make love and keep an image, an idea that everything is perfect, great, and you go through that, through the whole lovemaking, or you are able to acknowledge that even withdrawal can happen. So somebody moves away, somebody closes down in between the intercourse, or that all those things happen there. It's that's why my wish is that we would be able to go through all of this, because we're going through it for both of us. Uh, and all my obstacles always came to lack of forgiveness, or some resentment from one or the other. I'm not the innocent here at all. And I see the forgiving part as the most fundamental one. Keep on forgiving for everything. If I'm able to be forgiving in the moment, like constantly, or I believe we can go through all of that, which would normally stop us.
Yeah. I just heard also allowing, if we want to talk or listen, to allow the other person to fully express. And I can be honest, if the partner feels the burden of my expression, I don't feel safe. Like,
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this. Maybe somebody else has any questions here or something to share. Yeah.
Mm. 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 Yeah, yeah. Uh, just today and yesterday evening and today was like, I guess it's perfect for this for today. I went through, well, the whole week was about resentments that came out of my experience, and I knew I didn't want to resent. I didn't want to blame, and it went on through all this. I went through hatred, and I was like projecting. It was projecting onto her, and it's like, but I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that. That's not right. I know it's not right. Uh, and yesterday, I was able to make a shift, and I could consciously choose for myself that I don't want to be the guy or the human being who resents or the human being who keeps a grudge, that I don't want to do that. And I opened myself in my heart and started to let go. But truly, it was a process of everything else before that. Uh, Anger, resentment, and allowing myself to be angry. uh, yeah, I guess it's all the human beings. We have this process, going through all of that. And I could even feel the anger from her, and blocking me, and trying to end the conversation. But when I did the forgiving part within myself, this, in spite of who she was to me and what I've done and what I didn't do, and just chose forgiveness, to forgive it, to be someone who to not be someone who doesn't forgive. That the next morning, a space between us opened up, which was before resentment, and everything was like, this is the end, and came to opening. Uh, I just watched a video that some scientists did tests, and that forgiveness, when somebody forgives, uh, that he creates or she creates the space for the other person to be able to forgive as well, and that you forgive for yourself because it liberates you. You don't do it for the other one at all. It's because of the choice of who you want to be or who you don't want to be.
Yeah, I would just like Gregor to go into the first part, because we know that if we forgive, this happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's so important, Loisa. I talked with my friend today also about this, and she said, "But this can be so violent. You must forgive. It's like, yeah."
Mm-hmm.
And because in my process, I forgave, and then it comes back, and I'm saying, what is, well, why I cannot totally release? And the answer for me was, I really need to see more truth. I need to feel more truth. There are more pieces that they need to come back to me, and I need to put it I need to see the whole picture. And I feel I still don't see it. Like, this is for me. And to feel, I remember I felt um, pain. I felt like, whoa, so much heaviness went to me, over me, when I couldn't find a good way of talking, communication. And then I felt the cramp, like anxiety, and then sadness, so a bit of relief. It's really a process, and then anger, and then again.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah, I feel I really need to step and to feel all of this, even hurt that has nothing to do with my partner or this other person, but the truth, where, from which space I was coming out, and how how I really didn't see. And all this package first for myself, and that somehow, to be with this truth, it just makes a forgiveness. Then it's not, it's impossible not to forgive. This is also self-compassion, probably. When I have enough self-compassion, and if I have it. And also, one other part, there is what I saw, a lot of idealizations come. And if I'm able to see myself for who I am, real, not the idea of the person or of myself, but okay, I'm just like this. This is the reality. That's why I wrote today the divine union is a path to reality, because I feel when we experienced all these traumas, the result was that we went into the fantasy world, like we just one part of us just went away. It was not connected. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
reality is, my experience is better than than believing in ideas or being in, yeah, ideas and illusions. It's much better to be real, and whatever is true. Uh, even the part before, I wanted to say that if a woman expresses how she feels and what she doesn't like, it's better than if she would keep that for herself, because otherwise I would know something is off and I would keep blaming myself. What have I done wrong? And whatever, it creates a turmoil in my head. So uh, being truthful for you as a woman about expressing exactly what you like, what you don't like, what bothers you, where I need to stop, is what will give me freedom to. Because if you tell me, you have this many bricks, uh, and you have this much wood, whatever, if I accept that reality, then I can build something with it. But if I have just, we'll have enough, everything will be okay, it's like, okay, and then I have this many bricks and this much wood, then I'm frustrated. It's like much easier to work with reality. uh, it's the same thing if you accept yourself where you are currently, even if it feels like shit. But if you accept where you are, you can build something from that. But from illusions, you can't build anything except more struggle and yeah, um, effort in a relationship.
I just said a couple of days ago, it's better to be in contact with uncomfortable truth than with comfortable illusion, because from uncomfortable truth there is a path to progress. From comfortable illusion there are none.
yeah, it's just like turnings. Yeah. So I feel the same. Okay, it's bad. I will not like it, but I want to know the truth. And if this is your truth, okay. I also want to relate toward it. And maybe it won't be nice for you to experience it, but please show me your truth and give me the space that I can do my play, my part,
Mhm.
because then this can liberate me. It doesn't mean that we need to uh, have like, how to say, like harmonic endings, or maybe the ending can be just unharmonic, but we are both in our truth, and this is then the liberation. And then maybe through time also forgiveness, for sure. Like,
Yeah, because you have trust. If you're truthful with each other, saying things how they are, that's a relationship. You feel it in that moment. You feel a relationship.
so Louisa, did you receive, sorry, Gregoria, did you receive your answer?
Who? There's a video I can share with you. I can send it in an email, uh, which talks exactly about that. I think it's available. I think it will be available on YouTube for 2 more days, I think. Otherwise, I can send you the list of how you go through forgiveness, one by one. Uh, it's something I've done on my own, but this what I saw in the few points, they're exactly how I go through it. And what I've been going through forgiveness is the integral part of me. I'm committed to that. Even though I go through anger and resentment, it's forgiveness is when I know I'm really truthful and being truly me.
If I can add just one thing on forgiveness, and you all said a lot, but for me, a big part of it was accepting that we all have our paths and our journeys, and it's actually not personal. The thing that was done, the thing that we need to forgive, so to say. And I experienced, let's say, the ultimate betrayal in partnership, and I forgave because I realized that through the whole process of anger, whatever what goes in the process, but I realized that we each have our own path, and whatever the other person does is not a reflection of who I am. Is a reflection of their own experience, their own wounds. It actually doesn't have anything to do with me, except that it's an opportunity for me to grow. Yeah, so for me that was the key, acknowledging and accepting that we all have our own unique journeys, and the betrayal or whatever that was, in truth, it's not a reflection of us. So in the end, it's about really just letting go of something that we are holding on to for our own reasons.
For our own sake, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm just checking if there are any questions on the Facebook Live, and yeah, maybe just invite for closing our space. We can still have like 12 minutes. But if there are more questions coming in regard of intimacy, how
I
to,
have a question.
yeah, please.
Yeah, if you don't mind,
Yeah,
since we're
please.
here, and that's kind of the reason why I wanted to come on as well. Whoever feels they have something to say on the topic, and I'm just experiencing it now. So it's what I've seen many times in the masculine is when there's a build up between the masculine feminine, and I'm experiencing it right now, an extreme honesty, transparency, and intimacy happening. And then as it comes to a peak, it doesn't always have to be physical, but as it comes to a peak and an intensity, I see the masculine in need of a lot of space and in a withdrawal period. And obviously, I'm working on my own patterns of neediness, or what happened? Did I do something wrong? Or I just wonder if somebody has any insight, or or if that's clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe for me as a man, yeah, there's a lot of, it's always, I related to that feeling of withdrawing. Um, Probably it's equal on both sides, I would say, for men and women. But what I would say is that when I do withdraw, is when I'm afraid of that you would see into me, because when you connect so much, then I'm not able to hide anything from you. And if I am, I know I'm hiding. So it's confronting, and it would be normal, especially for other men that or more general men, not the kind of men that are willing to go deeper. And so but in general that they would avoid, because when you're so intimate, or you've created so much closeness together, that you cannot escape, from your own consciousness or your own conscience. Yeah, let's say like that.
Thank you.
So it's all about me, me being afraid of myself, being honest in my heart. I want to hide from that. Um, Many times it's really difficult to open, especially because if I would open too much, that maybe I would create distance, like a perception, that if I would open too much, I would create distance between us, but actually it's the withdrawal that creates the distance. Very tricky one.
And also, if I may share, if a man is coming from the point of I'm not good enough, then he's sometimes really afraid to reveal everything about himself, because he might be afraid to lose you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Matej and Gregor. I can relate to both. And tell me, Matej, what do you do if a man says, like, I'm not good enough? Like, what do? You accept this truth and say, okay,
I mean,
what to do in this case? Yeah.
I fought this kind of war a couple of years ago in Peru for 14 days. And then basically I came out and I realized that I cannot be the best man on all areas. So of course, everyone is good on some areas and not so good on other areas. But I'm sure that I am averagely good enough. But on every area, I can find a man that is better than me. And it depends on the needs of the woman. I mean, what does she need on the certain fields, if we are compatible or not? Because in some cases, I can meet her needs. In some cases, I cannot. And I think that communication and openness and vulnerability and directness should be the cure for this, because it's just how compatible our needs are. Because if my needs are in contradiction with hers, I mean, then, for example, many things are here. Many times here one is about loyalty. I mean, for some people that is a need, but for some it is not needed. And for example, in cases like this, of course, it's hard to be in a partnership with a person like this. It all depends on needs for me. And my guess would be here that communication should solve these problems. But of course, the communication is again the bird that flies with two wings, not with only one. So of course, many problems can occur here.
Yeah, even maybe that you come to the conclusion, oh, I don't know what are my needs. I need to figure it out,
Oh yes, and that's a homework. If you want to be authentic, then you need to figure it out. And they're not constant, they also change. So
it's true.
Or maybe you are aware of them, of many of them, but maybe you're not aware of some fundamental needs as well, that those are missing. And maybe that person in front of you could have that covered.
Yeah, the mistake I did many times in the past was like I was expecting from my girlfriend or wife to let's say to meet my needs, and I didn't even know what they are, and I was not able to express them. So it was a complete fuck up. And I was disappointed because she didn't meet them, but I didn't know what they were. So now I understand that, because but when it's easy to when you look at it backwards, but at that time I didn't understand it at all. You know, I knew for some of them, but not all of them. So it was quite complicated time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing this.
For me, I would think I know what her need is, but actually I didn't, you know, and I was frustrated. What can I do? How come I'm not satisfying a need? You know, I can see it, but I'm definitely I'm not addressing it, and I don't know what I'm doing. You know, but I've never even engaged in that kind of conversation, you know, in my previous relationship. But now, you know, I go into that conversation, and it's great friendship, you know. We're really talking, you know, why do you need this? Why is this important to you? You know, that's what creates a really relaxed and friendly bond. Getting to know each other like that, and it sparks intimacy as well. You know, unfortunately, it was the last time was the time of the quarantine, you know, and I've connected with someone really closely through online, you know, but the situation didn't accommodate for our meeting, so it went apart eventually. But yeah, that kind of conversation, I have a really good experience with that. Trying to figure out those needs, you know, what and why are those important to you? Nobody asks us that.
And maybe we have 2 more minutes that I invite Maya and maybe somebody else as well, like all of us, that if there is thought that came out today through our conversation in regard of our thematic, maybe we share it, or whatever tip, or I don't know, just a thought of a guidance. Maybe Maya, if you feel anything to share, I would really uh,
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say this is a tip. I would just
yeah.
share my experience. When we were talking about the fear of intimacy and the fear of showing your vulnerability and your truth, in my experience now, in the past 2 years, let's say, or 3 years, when I'm really more aware of everything that's playing out while, you know, a situation is happening, I saw that in a moment with the partner, when I knew, you know, this is the moment that when I can choose to really be myself and to admit that I'm afraid, for example, to make a step. And when I did that, when I chose in that moment to take the leap into nothingness, because I didn't know how it would be received, it was actually always matched with equal vulnerability and openness on the other side. And my mind was blown when it happened for the first time, you know, and I thought I'm just jumping, and I thought, okay, if I land on the ground, then you know, it's okay. But I didn't, because truly, yeah, that leap of faith was matched, and I was caught, and my partner, not partner, lover, whatever we call him, he, you know, he opened the same vulnerability and like opened up way more than I thought it's possible. So, you know, I was projecting on the person that he can go to a certain level, but when I made the leap and I went over my safe point, he did as well. And so, yeah, I only had good experiences when I did that, like very truthfully and honestly stepping into that unknown. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Maya.
Thank you.
So it is in a way in us, right? The intimacy that we are that we have with ourselves, and the courage where we can, when we can, like, if I understood right, surrender to the
I would
to
say
what freaks us out the most. Like, yeah, thank you, everybody. I felt today such beautiful, intense energy, and I really loved all of the shares. And I want to thank everybody who came to the Zoom call, and to you, Maya, that you came, Matei, for the sharings, Gregor, that we did it again. I, I I really love this space when we come here, and let's do it again soon when is the call. And yeah, thank you, everybody. Today, for the first time, I recorded the talk. I always forget. But anyway, the talk will be on our live on the wall, and we are preparing maybe a group or something with Gregor to have more support for questions. And we are both researching with Gregor, and we don't know what is there, but we are just surfing.
Yeah,
Good.
maybe groups would be nice.
Yeah, and I would like to invite everyone who felt Maya. I'm also in the temple or in her group. I really like. Now it's in a new space. I'm not so used to it to be there. It's not on Facebook anymore. So, but I am following, and also the web page is the temple. What is the name of the web page?
irresistibletribe.com, and then you just check the tab membership and you can read.
Yeah. I just want to share this because I'm with Maya the last year, right? And when I came there, there was so many cramps, and I was experiencing such. It's. I'm not always there, but because I'm there, I feel I'm connected, and it's really supporting me. I don't know what. It's something you cannot think. It's just there. So I'm really honored that you share this space with us today. And yeah, everybody. And also here is Hilda, that is from the temple. And yeah, very welcome. Come there. And with us, Gregor, I am starting, to open myself, and I'm doing the readings for astrology, but also maybe more and more I open to that, and we will do a group probably. Let's see what will be co-created. Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Loisa. And now we can put out our jingle. And yeah. And thank you for our guests, and also to people. There were many people watching outside, I see now, but there were no questions. Just people watching. So
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.